even Warlock, and Dimasik, the Shuttlewalk Shaman.
You know, this was a matchup, when I first played it, I was like, man, how on earth does Shuttlewalk Shaman beat these mountain giants and stuff? And the more I played it, the more I was like, man, how does even Warlock beat these Shutterwalks and stuff? I mean, they just blow up everything. And that's really where Boomsday Project is such an important set, because now Warlock has access to Demonic Project. And for all intents and purposes, Demonic Project is a pretty poor card. It transforms a minion in each player's hand into a random demon. That's not a very powerful effect, but when you are specifically relying on Shutterwalk or Grumble to really get that job done, it is a card that can completely change the scope of the game.
Yeah, and that's why we're seeing a lot of even Warlocks tech in single Demonic Projects. It's not a control Warlock where a lot of times you want two. You just want it for those matchups where you absolutely have to transform a key minion.
Yeah, trying to bust the busters.
Malagos Druid.
Hadronox. You're trying to bust the busters.
That's right.
Control has a lot of good tools to do that in a variety of matches too. You know, I think that's one of the reasons that the big Spell Mage control decks were popular for a while, is when Taunt Druid was everywhere. Being able to polymorph one of your opponent's minions just left them in the dust if they couldn't kill you in the first wave of taunts. I like the way that Aka's playing this, though. You have to try and get as aggressive as possible with anything you've got. You know, honestly, if AKAWonder had Mountain Giants or he had Shroom Brewers here, it wouldn't surprise me to still see him go with the Shroom Brewers in this instance to try to get Dimasik to commit resources and then follow up with bigger threats afterwards. I think that's actually, you know, quite a reasonable line of play with this deck.
Ooh, Mossy Horror ripped off the top. That's going to allow him to start pushing a little bit more. And currently Dimasik doesn't have any removal outside of the Hex. No Volcano, no Lightning Storm.
That is a massive draw. Like that's a stamp your feet celebration draw.
Yeah.
Which is what I imagine that Mossy Horror does. He just kind of shows up and stamps his feet and everything. You know, 2 powerless, of course. Bites the dust.
Talking a little bit about these players, Dimasik's actually, this is his first HCT appearance. He's only 16 years old. The next Hearthstone prodigy, perhaps.
Man, that's got to be tough. I don't get it. Why it's always like the young guys are just crushing these tournament scenes. They're just.
He's still got a ways to go. Currently 1-1 and down in this series, but AKAWonder, he's a player with a pretty big resume. He's got a handful of top 8s in DreamHack. He's been around for quite a while. Oh, that's the worst, maybe second worst.
That Mossy Horror has been bringing a lot of unfortunate circumstances. It's like right off the top, and then here you go, steal it with possibly the worst minion on board on AKAWonder's side.
Dimasik's got a little bit of stall with Hex and Healing Rain, but right now he is in a lot of trouble.
No card draw.
No card draw whatsoever. No removal either. He has played quite a few of his combo pieces. We've seen Serenite Chain Gang. We've seen the Life Drinker. We've seen a Glacial Shard, but no Grumble. No double ups on those effects. So still got a ways to go before that Shutterwalk becomes threatening, and that is the only win condition against a deck like this. You're not going to tempo out, especially without an early Keleseth, you're not going to tempo out an even block.
This is definitely a matchup where Dimasik is the one on the back foot and needs to be controlling the pace of the game in some way. And, you know, at times that can be Hagatha and just getting a lot of extra stuff and kind of just blowing up all of your opponent's things. Sometimes you have to resort to that because your Shutterwalk gets transformed or a key minion gets transformed. But right now, it's like, this is looking really bad. I'm not really sure where Dimasik gets back in this one. Yeah, and that's, I think the mind control tech is a slightly stronger trade for AKAWonder in that spot. If not because Hagatha could be in hand, but the Dimasik could draw Hagatha. Like, that's I think one of the worst things that can happen. And Hexes often in this matchup are typically reserved for that Dread Inferno right there, so that, you know, you lessen the impact of Blood Reaver Gul'dan. We're starting to see that point of the game where it's getting, you know, a little bit weird, and we're going to see where the win conditions sit. AKAWonder may have to slow down a little bit and try to pace this better. But with a Mana Tide on board, with not really too much in hand other than Lich King, Well, you know.
How about a pair of Mountain Giants?
Yeah, add the second Mountain Giant, and suddenly this is, you know, crazy.
Yeah, this is not looking good for Dimasik. Even Volcano would barely even touch this board. It would probably leave the Mountain Giants both alive, and maybe even the Skulking guys because of the way that Volcano works. But he's just going to have to go with Shadow Walk.
You see that.
And does steal a Mountain Giant. Is going to be able to copy this fight with the Serenite Chain Gangs. This is a big board, but that's it. The freezes land on the two worst targets.
The only targets with 0 attack value.
Yeah. And AKAWonder does have a way to clear off all these Shadow Walks and shut off the... basically the win condition for Dimasik.
19 points of damage.
Computing.
I wonder if you ever tap here first. Like, look for the second Hellfire. Second Hellfire ends the game on the spot.
It's pretty... I guess it's not that risky because...
You're at 14. I mean,
yeah.
You know, if you decide that, you know, you're going to go face and wait, or decide that you want to clear the board here, like, it doesn't take much more to really have this game end. You know, you're still looking at Dimasik being able to just, you know, grumble Serenite Chain Gangs and Life Drinkers and such.
Well, there's
Still
no
Agatha.
Serenite Chain Gangs. There's only one Life Drinker left.
Oh boy.
So it looks like he is just going to go for a clear. Defile plus Hellfire lets him clear the board and keep his Mountain Giant around.
That's really well done.
And sets up lethal.
And shuts down lethal.
But I mean, this is basically all Dimasik has to work with. He's got Grumbles is the only big threat left in the deck. Maybe Hagatha could find some miracles. But how in the world is he going to deal with Blood Reaver Gul'dan is the big question that I'm going to ask. Or the Lich King at the moment. He's already used a copy of Hex.
I mean, it's going to need to peel off the top of the deck awfully quick. Yeah. That's the big one.
I just don't think there's any way that Dimasik wins from this scenario.
Was the Dread Infernal hexed?
It was, so it's only a Vulgar Homunculus, but Dimasik has no card draw. He's got Acolyte of Pain and Volcano, but he needs multiple turns to be able to draw that, so he's just going to load up the board.
Oh, he's thinking about it. See, now is where that question comes in the back of your head. You go, ooh, do I need to draw Hagatha here? Like, do I need to draw Grumble with this? And AKAWonder's about to just... Now it's like overdrive, pull away with the game.
Yeah. Especially if he gets multiple Lich King cards off this. I mean, Dimasik needs multiple draws to be able to come back in the game.
Oh,
he needs the Hex right now and then to chain into other stuff. I guess Volcano works.
Still can't play the Life Drinker, though. Yeah, I'm just looking at the anti-magic shell now, and oh, brother, that you're not going to beat that. It's 30. He's got time, but I'm looking at a string of draws here, and the Shutterbox gone. That had to be played for defense.
I like the risk that he took, though, because he was dead pretty much in any other scenario. Well, okay. Kind of have to play it because this may be your last opportunity to play it if your opponent loads up the board.
This is where Gen starts to get frustrated. He's like, no, fine, I'll do it. I gave you a one-cost hero power, man. What do you want?
Has become our greatest strength.
It's strange how good that card is sometimes. 6'5" body.
Yeah.
Should I be playing Boulder Fist Ogre? That's the question I ask myself at 6 a.m. in the European playoffs.
Because Boulder Fist Ogre is a 6'5".
It's a 6'7". 2 extra health.
Your magic shall not save you.
Just getting shut down.
Yep, he knows there are no volcanoes left. Hex can't target these minions. And Lightning Storm isn't going to Could get cooked with a 6-5. That's useless.
Yep. That's a whole lot of nothing.
AKAWonder keeps himself alive.